Hello, everybody. My name is John Pumayalli, and I did software development at Percy Health. Real quick, I don't have pictures of the journey because when I did have pictures of it, I talked for like 5 minutes and it was awesome, but then I didn't talk about the science. Um, so when I first got there, I got to hang out around Boston for about a day, and I toured colleges, which was a lot of fun. So it's like if that works with your schedule and your family can facilitate it, and you can work with Sarah, just know that there's like a flexible schedule. So it was really fun to hang out around there. Oh, and I did get my Tetris high score there, which was awesome. I won't be sharing it because it's not that high. Um, and then, okay, so my mentor was Carson Levine. She was amazing. She's a Dartmouth grad. She graduated, I believe, 2021. She has a lot of art projects that are currently active at the Dartmouth Art Museum. And her whole idea was to use technology and like immerse it with art and like neon colors and how sound waves and light waves work, which is really cool. So like this is an example of like the different like RGB colors and how like reflective material works. And then under here she has like a little TV that plays like the visualization of sound waves, which was super awesome. So when I would hang out with her, she would teach me all about like what she's doing and how she uses tech for art, which had nothing to do with my internship, but it was still super fun to learn about. Oh, and this is a little hologram thing, which is awesome. So it's like it uses this mirror and this like other mirror up here. It's like kind of hard to see, but it's awesome. And then this is my coding. So for some of my internship, I worked in the apartment or in the room that we were subletting, which was super fun. And I just got to like stay at home, or I guess in like the apartment for a couple hours in the morning, code, go out on a walk and hang out with my mentor, and then maybe code in the library or in the computer science center at Dartmouth. And I did select these photos because it's like nothing really important is on there. But what I was working on was the I guess it was the front side of a iOS application. So I was coding everything that somebody would interfere with. So we call it the user interface. And the app follows this idea of being able to track your symptoms and then using AI to figure out patterns between your symptoms. So it's like if I was sick and I made a doctor's appointment for 3 months from now, I would be able to collect my data using this app like once every week for the next 3 months. And then once I go to the doctor, I show them all of my data, and then the artificial intelligence that we worked with would be able to analyze it and scan for like any potential chronic illnesses, which was super cool. So a lot of what I did was the front-end development and also the organizing of the database. So this is an example of our Mongo database, which is what we used. And it's a really, really cool way of like going in and setting like huge ID numbers, labeling it with different things, and then changing values. I could talk about it for hours, but it would bore all of you guys. I love computers, and this was super fun. Oh, and that's Laurel Dernbig, who also helped me. She was my mentor. She was more on the software development side. So Carson Levine was mostly just like the CEO of the company, and I worked with 4 other Dartmouth grad students. And once I got in contact with Carson, I got in contact with Laurel Dernbig. She also graduated from Dartmouth, and she did all of like the coding, and she was the one who told me what to do. And at first I was like, okay, I can like organize a few files or maybe like upload some stuff. And then she was like, you're gonna code the whole front end of the app. And I was like, okay. So I had to take a lot of notes and do a lot of research on my own time, but ended up like turning out great. I guess this is where I'm gonna say a quick piece of advice. Like, try to go above and beyond. Like, find a balance between work and like fun. But if you can go and like give as much as you can, then they're gonna really, really like you for that, and then they're gonna give you great opportunities afterwards and value you as like an actual team member. So this is my free time coding. So for a lot of my free time, since I'm in love with computers, I just kept coding. I would go on hikes, turn on my hotspot, and like knit a little bit, read, or just do some coding. And I coded a website for my friend Grace Gohul, who does photography. And this is another piece of advice, is use your resources. So you're gonna be working with some really smart people that have a bunch of really cool knowledge. So I took that to my advantage, and I built a website for my friend. So I was able to compile all of her photos, put it on a website, and then add like cool descriptions. I think in this one I say like Lucia surrounded by logs in math class or something like that. Just like dumb puns, but it was like a great way to keep working on my coding skills even when I wasn't like on the clock, because it's like what I was working with was iOS development, this was HTML development, and it was just a cool way to like develop different skills while still using the same people to do so. This was Mink Brooks Reserve. This picture right here wasn't, but it was still a cool picture that I liked. So what I would do is like I'd walk to this little like park, or it wasn't a little park, it was like a few square miles actually. And the way I like to describe it is that there were more deer than people, like always, and it was super, super fun. So I would go take a book, take my knitting needles, and take my laptop, and then I would just sit there for 4 or 5 hours and just work. And it was so much fun because when you're working at a desk or when you're working on your computer, it gets really intense and it can get really suffocating. So it's awesome to just go outside, breathe in nature, get bitten by a few mosquitoes, and then just have a fun day. So yeah, it's like my little spot, like sit by the river, listen to the water run, and it was just a blast. And then there was Carson's final project, which was super cool. So whenever I had free time, I would practically hang out with Carson or her friends, because she showed me around campus, and I got to meet some of her friends that were closer to my age, and I hung out with them. So her final project was this idea of encapsulating current technological, I guess, events and objects and going all the way back in the past and then putting it all in one huge cargo container and then messing with like some trippy lights and just really cool fog. So this is like before, and I would go after doing my day of coding, which was usually 9 to 5. I would go hang out with her, and we'd just build random stuff in her cargo container, and she got a huge grant from Dartmouth to be able to do this, and it was awesome. And this is a really cool picture that I like, that it's just like the TV that you can see right here. So it's like surrounded by a bunch of fog. There's some cool music playing in the background, and you get to walk around and just have a really cool immersive experience to see how like technology is really affecting our lives. And that was her whole message, which is really ironic because she's a computer scientist. But it's like, I think this was a huge point for me to take a takeaway from, because it helped me realize that even though technology is really, really cool, it is damaging a lot of like our natural life. And I think that's what helped, that this internship helped me understand that like I really, really like nature and I really like computers. So I was able to find that balance by going out into the Mink Brooks Reserve and just coding and just finding a way to like stay healthy and also do what I love at the same time. My advice for future interns: use your resources, as I've said many times. Take notes. So for a few weeks before I did my internship, Laurel Dernbick and Carson Levine were sending me websites and like articles that I could look at to like start learning what I needed to know. And even though I didn't use much of that information, it was great to just start getting in that computer science mindset because I haven't been in it in a little while. So I had a yellow legal pad and I took many, many notes. And then whenever I was in a meeting, I took a bunch of notes just so that I always had something to do. Because you want to be a supportive team member. You don't want to be somebody that they're dragging along. Like you want to be somebody that brings stuff to the table that they can actually use. Take advantage of your environment, goes with using your resources. Be a valuable team member, asking what to do. Yeah, so it's like if you are bored, there's definitely something that you can do. Like even if it's like cleaning the back end of code, which sometimes sucks, or like commenting out stuff, like it is a way to help your team, and it is a way to show that like Pinterns are actually really, really cool people, and like we can be helpful and we know how to manage the real world. And lastly, just have fun. Like go out, meet people, go grab like some food, and then like visit rivers if you can, because rivers are amazing. And then thank you so much to Carson Levine, Laurel Dernbick, Brendan Keene, Kai Johnson, and Sarah Holbrook, and just everybody with Pinhead. So yeah, thank you guys.